Welcome, students. We are going to be learning how to navigate GED.com and how to use some of the unique features within the website. So the first thing you want to do is go ahead and log in. Okay, on this homepage, there is a couple of things. Now, I have already been using my GED.com account for many years, so there are a couple of things that are showing on my screen that may not show on your screen, okay, on this home page. What I do want to do is show you a couple of the highlights before we actually do purchase a GED practice test and also practice scheduling a test. So I want to go ahead and show you first one of the things that I think is pretty cool, and it's actually previewing a test. A lot of times students do not have any experience looking at a GED test or have no idea what it's going to look like. So there's a nice little preview here that you can look at. You can find it here by choosing study. So click on the study. Okay, from this page, you want to click on over here at the bottom right where it says preview the test. Okay, on this page, take a look at this. You now have the ability to preview the test. It is a quarter length of the test, which means you're only going to be looking at about 10 to 12 questions for each topic. There is an answer explanation for each question because this is not graded. There is not a grade doing this, but you actually get to look at official test questions, maybe from the past, or maybe some things that might have been rejected through their beta testing or whatever. So here are the 4 topics. You can choose any of them. So because I'm a math teacher and I've done this many, many times with math, I'm not going to choose really math. I want to choose something different. So I'm going to choose social studies if that's okay. Now, you know what? I'm going to choose science. Okay, so one of the things about this is the actual page that you would be experiencing if you were going to take the test itself. It looks just like this, same color scheme, same font styles, everything is the same. I'm going to go ahead now and click the start button, which is actually on the official test too. Let's give it a minute to warm up. There it goes. So this is what the official test looks like. Again, the banners, the color schemes, the table, the fonts, the everything is the same. Here's the next button. This is definitely on the test itself too. Now, on this page, you'll notice that you have your question here, but let's look around. First up, do you notice that you have this button up here which says flag for review? So what I can do, and I can do also on the official test, is I can click this and it will show the question being flagged when I finally get to the end and see the review of all questions. This will have a little flag next to it if I want to come back, because I can go back and forth through the test questions if I want. I can go forward, I can go backwards. Another thing I can do is I can zoom in and out a little bit. I can scroll. I don't think I can make the window any bigger. I think when it comes on the test, actually, it already is a certain size. And as you can tell, I can't really click on any borders here to make this look any bigger. But it does have a scroll bar and I can use it like this. So go ahead and take a look at this question. These are official type questions. Now, if you're going to ask me, hey, Varen, is this question going to be on the test itself? No. But could a question very similar to it be there with even maybe a very similar graphic, but a different question? Darn tootin', there might be something there that looks like this. Now, once you read the question and you answer it, you can choose a selection, but remember, you're not going to get graded for this. This is merely a preview. It's just an opportunity to actually get to use the functions of the test itself. Now, if you've chosen an answer, B, I can now go and click up here. Do you see here where it says answer explanation? Every test, every preview in this section gives you the opportunity to look at an answer. So you can check yourself. So I click on this and then it shows me, oh, no, not B, C is right. And then here is an explanation, which I truly love is explanations about why something is correct or why something is incorrect. I need that to help me learn and to do better. So that's what we have. You can do this with every question here. And as you can tell, there are 10 questions. So you get an opportunity here to look at the science. And remember, this opportunity is given to you for every topic. So I can do this with math, social studies, or science. That's really neat. I think this is a great feature. Okay, let's go back. The next cool feature that on GD.com, I think, is actually purchasing a practice test and having it graded. So we're going to go through that experience right now. I'm going to go ahead now and click on the study button again. And I come to this page. Now I'm going to zoom out so you can see the whole page. Okay, this is where we previously were, and we clicked on this button here to preview the test. I don't want to do that now. I want to click here in the middle, which says practice. Notice that this is purchasing a GED ready practice test. So I'm going to go ahead and click this. Okay, if you are an AE student, we have probably given you a voucher to use for a practice test. You have to use it specifically right here. Do you see where it says have a voucher code in this yellow banner and you have a blue redeem button? Go ahead and click on the hyperlink right now. Click this button. Okay, you now choose a subject. I'm going to go ahead now and choose science. Oh, let me choose something different, language arts, because I want to create a score report. And I don't know if I've taken a test in language arts before. Anyway, here we go. Hit continue. English or Spanish, it doesn't matter for the GED test. This is not an English language proficiency test. So if your native language is Spanish and you feel comfortable speaking Spanish and your vocabulary is much broader in Spanish, you should take the test in Spanish. There is no reason you should be taking it in English as a second language if you're unfamiliar with the language. Go ahead and click on continue. Okay, you have to agree to their policies. So go ahead and agree to the cancellation policies. Okay, now you're in your cart. You don't want to add anything to your order. You want to go ahead and just click the bottom right where it says proceed to checkout. Okay, from here, this is the place where you're going to cut and paste the voucher code that's been given to you by your instructor. Please don't retype it. That's where a lot of the problems will end up happening. You'll try to retype it, you'll hit apply, you'll say it doesn't work, and you'll complain to the teacher and say my code doesn't work. But in reality, it was you mistyping it. So don't mistype. Let's go ahead and cut and paste. So go ahead, I'm going to copy my voucher code, and I'm going to go ahead and paste it right here. So this is my voucher code. I'm going to go ahead and do you see now, notice that this gray apply button lights up? I'm going to go ahead and click on that. You'll notice now that my balance is gone to 0 and it says that the voucher was used. That's good. Let's go ahead and hit next. Okay, so it tells me that I'm almost there, that I'm going to be paying for this test. I bought it today. I can use it. Do you notice the time frame too? I'm purchasing it here October 18th, 2024, but it's valid until February 15th, 2025. So if I wanted to, I don't actually have to use the test today. I have October, November, December, January, February, 4 months about to use the test. But that's not how you should be doing anything when it comes to the GED test. You should go ahead now and take it now. So I want to go ahead and submit my order. Okay, I have now booked and paid for my test. It is now available to me. So if I want to, I can use it right now. Here is the begin exam button. So I want to go ahead and click on it. And now my test will start. So what I want to do is this is the actual practice test. You'll notice that it is timed. You have 47 minutes to complete a part. Now remember, this is language arts. Every test has a few different rules, maybe with the time or the number of questions. Okay, so now you can tell I've answered a few questions. I unanswered these on purpose. But the next piece is I've gotten to the end of my section one, 22 questions, and it's asking me to end my review. So I want to make sure that I click end review here. So go ahead and do that now, and let's move to and see what comes up next. It says I have not answered, but I'm going to go ahead and say yes. Are you sure? Yes. Lots of yeses. Okay, so this is now part two. Part two is about to begin. You have 45 minutes to complete the extended response. So again, this is the part where you have an essay to write. Again, this is the language arts section, so there is an essay. There is not an essay for social studies or science or mathematics. But if you do have an instructor, they can help you with this and kind of give you some clues and some techniques and some ideas about what to write and what not to write and how much to write and how much not to write. But that's for your instructor to talk to you about. I'm going to go ahead and now click the next button. Okay, I have now come to the end of my test. I am now going to click End Test and submit my test for grading. Okay, you'll notice that nothing happens. You're like, Baron, what just happened there? Well, sometimes what it takes is it takes a little while for the system to adjust. Sometimes one of the things that happens, and I tell my students, is the system will kick you out of the website. So I could have been kicked out of the website and I would have had to relog back in. Now, I noticed that I don't see anything up here about my language arts test that I just took. I have to actually go to this place that says My Scores. So I'm going to click on this place that says My Scores to show me my practice test score that I just took. Okay, so you'll notice that when I go to my practice test score, I'm looking down here. This is the practice test score. Now, thing to take a look at, this says most recent GED practice test scores. So one of the things is that you can retake practice tests as many times as you want. If I wanted to take my math test over and over again, I could do that. Now, one of the things to know about the practice test is, well, like for math, let's say I took a practice test today and I didn't get a good score. So I'm like, you know what? Let me go ahead and practice a little bit. And then I take another practice test again next week. If I come back next week and I purchase another practice test and I click on for math, it is not going to be the same test that I took the previous week. The test is going to be unique. In fact, for math, there are 4 unique practice tests within GED.com. They call them number 1, number 2, number 3, and number 4. So I have 4 opportunities to see unique questions that are different from each other. But if I purchased a 5th math practice test, I would see that they're giving me test number 1 again. And now I would see repeated type material. The same is true for science, which has 3 tests, social studies, which has 3 unique tests, and language arts, which has 3 unique tests. Math is a little different with 4 unique practice tests. So here on this page of most recent practice tests, these are the most recent practice test scores. On top, you'll notice that these are the GED scores. These are the actual test scores. And it's going to be the highest score also. You'll notice that I don't have any tests. I haven't taken any yet. But if I did, it would show right here. Now, as you can tell, let's get back to my language arts practice test. Where is it? It says it's in progress, but I'm like, I just submitted it. It says resume GED ready, but I submitted that. Let's click this button and see what's happening with this GED test. Sometimes what ends up happening is that your test will not be ready immediately after. Sometimes it'll act like you have not submitted it, and you'll see this resume exam button show up like this. Now, your test is already submitted, you already went through the process. The system is trying to catch up. It just takes a little time. You have to remember that the test was timed. There are a few parameters and things that the system has to go through itself before it can put out a score for you. But let me just go ahead and click the resume exam button so you can see what happens. Do you notice that it says error? See that? Did you notice that it went error? So it's not letting me go back into the test because I've already submitted it. So it is the system trying to catch up with itself. A score has not been generated yet. But if I go to my scores and give it just a few minutes, this score will show up. So let's go ahead and give it a few minutes and we'll come back. Okay, hey, I've checked just now and my score finally showed up for my language arts practice test. So here it is, 113. It's not passing, but that's okay. Passing would be a 145 or better, but it's below that. And, I didn't expect to pass because I didn't answer most of the questions. So you'll notice one thing that does show up here is that you have the ability to create a score report. Do you see this? This is one of the reasons I did not choose math, even though I'm a math instructor. I chose language arts because I wanted to go through the process of creating a new score report and letting you see how to do that. So let's go ahead and click on this button now and see what happens. So what is happening now is I have actually already linked my study to a specific book. Now, I chose language arts because I have never taken a language arts practice test, and I did not think that it was going to automatically link my material, but that's what it did because I did that with the math. But I'm going to go through the process and tell you a couple of things that would happen. Back on that previous page, if I go to my scores one more time, and let's say I click on the score report for the first time, there is nothing here. I've taken my first practice test. I've never taken a practice test on GED.com. So when I click on score report, actually what's going to happen is it's going to look like something like this. I'll see that this is here. But this link your study material will not say that. What will end up happening is you'll have a button that'll show up about right here, and it'll say, do you want GED.com to create a lesson plan for you? And you would click the button, yes. The next thing that would show up, it says, are you taking GED classes? And it's a yes and no question. You would say, yes, I am taking GED classes. The next question that'll show up, it'll say, link your material to a study book. And what'll happen is you'll see a page that looks similar to something like this. This is what's going to show up. So you get the opportunity to actually click on and link something. Now, FYI, do you notice this? Essential education. Okay, we have essential education as a learning tool. But I want to let you know, FYI, for yourself, it's not a direct link to GED.com. So GED.com is not going to connect Essential Ed and say, hey, I'm looking for this student. Let me log into their account and let me send them this practice material. It doesn't work like that. What will end up happening is that if I do choose Essential Ed, what will happen is that this list will only relate to the top to ideas that are already in Essential Ed. I actually have to go log into Essential Ed and I have to go find this thing here in Essential Ed. It doesn't give me a direct link or it doesn't create a study plan in Essential Ed automatically. It just does this. I have to go still through Essential Ed and find each of these topics. So this is one of the things about Essential Ed. Let me show you something else though. One of the things is, so if you scroll down, you notice that we have this scroll bar right here, right? Look, check that out. So you have the opportunity, not just software, but you can also do books. Do you see these books here? Look at all those books. A lot of those books we have in our adult ed program, and a lot of these books can be purchased on Amazon or other online stores for for actually pennies, for just a few dollars. You don't have to buy a book that's the current. You can actually get something that's old, actually. When it comes to the GD test, anything that's older than 2014 is valid. So here I see this GD. I love Kaplan. Here's this Kaplan test prep GD test prep book for 2019. You know what? That is still a valid book, even though we're going into 2025 in just a few months. I could still use this book, and it has great material. The material's not old. Math questions, just FYI, never get old. I can still work on math questions that have been around for thousands of years. So anyway, this is still valid. Another thing too, if I scroll down, I'll see other books here in the list. So you may find something that you already have, or you might find something that you're like willing to purchase. Now, the reason I do this is because we have access to a book right now, which is this Kaplan GED Prep 2023. A lot of these books have already been purchased, and we will actually we have them in our library. Your instructor can actually check a book out and use it during class. So if your instructor doesn't have a book, you can ask them, hey, is it possible for you to go check out a GED prep book from the library or from the bookstore? I'm sorry, not the bookstore. Our book room at Highland Campus, and they can check this out for free. They also have access to a ebook. So we have this, and we can use this book, and this is a great book. So hit continue. Okay, now check this out. Now, because I have linked my material, my study plan actually has the page numbers that associate to things that I still need to practice. So within page 60 to 61 in this book, I'm going to find the topic, determine the main idea. Now, the reason this came up here is because I got it wrong on the test. So things that I got wrong on the test, this is what the study plan creates. It's not a study plan about things I got right. It's a study plan about things I got wrong. So each of these is topics that I got incorrect, but I can help myself by going and looking and reading the page number. Look at the first three topics. Do you notice that the first three topics are actually the same pages in the book? So if I actually went and took a look and actually worked in this book on page 60 and 61, I could have actually gotten 3 more questions correct. So now I know, hey, there's a lot to do about main idea. So if I go into the book and practice 60 and 61, I could have gotten 3 more questions correct. But now I know how to do this. You can check mark, and what you can do is print this out. Let me show you how. What I can do, if I scroll down, I have the opportunity to share with adult education centers. So I could probably send this report to an instructor. It doesn't really work like sending directly things. You have to understand that GED.com doesn't have a direct connection to our adult ed program or to your essential ed or anything like that. I can print it and take it. So this allows me the opportunity to print out my report. So I'm going to go ahead now and print this report by clicking this button. I'll notice that it's not truly printing. I can save it as a PDF, but if I have access to a printer, I can go ahead and click on this button and find the printer that I have access to. Ooh, here's the printer that I have access to. If I wanted to go ahead and print this out physically right now, I could do it through my printer. But if I want to go ahead and say, well, let me save it as a PDF. That way I can send it to my instructor and I can print this out later when I'm maybe at the campus. So I would just go ahead and save it and just save it to my hard drive somewhere, maybe in my downloads or wherever I want to save stuff. Okay, so now we have gone through the process of taking a look and creating a lesson plan. We've learned how to link the lesson plan to a specific book. The next thing I want to show you is, I think, the most enjoyable part about this whole GD experience is actually scheduling a test. So what we're going to do now is schedule a test. So you'll notice that this button is up here. Let's go ahead and click on it. Okay, when it comes to scheduling a GED test, you have to realize that there are 2 options to doing the test. One, you could take the test online at your home or in a room, maybe at a testing, not a testing center, sorry, but maybe at campus. It is possible. Or you have another opportunity to go to a physical testing center. And there's actually quite a few here in Austin, and they are available through the weekend, which is really great. A couple of pros and cons about doing it online. Taking a test online is very difficult. Do you see how this person here is smiling? That is not really most of the experiences that I have heard about from other students. From other students, this person should be frowning and frustrated a little bit because doing a test online can be quite difficult, especially when it comes to math. First off, you are at your home. You are doing this at probably much any time of the day, which one of the coolest features about doing the test online is you can take it 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I could take this test if I wanted to. I could take my test on Sunday night at 3 a.m. in the morning if I wanted to. But there are lots of drawbacks. So one of the things is that the test is still watched. You are still watched while you're taking the test. And that's being done through your camera. So what ends up happening is that if you choose to do it online, you will be given some instructions, and the instructions say make sure that you're in a room with a door, make sure that the computer you have is on a desk and nothing else is on this desk. The computer you have has to be able to use a camera. You has to be a laptop or a desktop with a webcam. It cannot be a tablet or a phone. Other instructions in the house, so the room you're in cannot have extra electronics in it. No other monitors, no other screens. Your phone cannot be visible, and they are very stringent about that. What ends up happening also, let's say you scheduled your test for 9 a.m. 45 minutes before the test starts, you are going to be directed to log into a site. On this site, you will be greeted by somebody, and they are going to take you through the process of getting you ready to take your test. Now, the person is going to be wants you to take pictures of your room, so they're going to be using your camera on your device to actually take pictures and view your room, view the desk, view what's on underneath the desk, view what's behind the desk. They want to see everything that's in the room. They're also going to check your system to make sure that your computer can run the software. Okay, after all that's done, you're going to be meted by an online proctor who's going to view you and tell you the rules. Hey, don't cover your face. Hey, don't talk. Hey, if I hear noises going on in the background, I'm going to cancel your test. So, and they have the ability to do that. So if the dog is barking, or if your kids are talking in the back room, or if somebody actually comes to the front door, they have the ability to cancel your test. If you cover your face with your hand, if you're talking, if you're mumbling, you cannot use a pencil. You can't use a pen. You can't use anything other than your fingers and your hands to do the test. There cannot be any noise or sound at all. And you cannot use a calculator for the math test. You have to use the online calculator. You're not allowed to use a physical calculator, which is different from the testing center. So there are a lot of restrictions about this online. And honestly, I'm going to tell you the truth. About 75% of the people I have heard that have done the test online, 75% have said, Darren, that was not a good experience. And I'll tell them, I told you so. I told you not to do it online, and I told you to do it in person. Why don't you listen to me? So let's go ahead and talk about in-person testing centers, which are really great. So I like them. Though you have to get dressed and get in your car or another vehicle and get to the testing center on time, which is not a big deal. Let's go ahead and choose schedule at a test center. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pick either English or Spanish. I'm going to choose the test that I want to take. Let's do math because I like math. Here are some testing policies that I have to agree to. There's also a reschedule and cancellation. I'm going to go ahead and discuss this really quick with you. Say you schedule your test in advance for maybe 3 weeks from now. Okay, let's say the test day is tomorrow, but you just found out that they changed your work schedule and you have to work tomorrow. And you're also scheduled for the test. You have to contact them, and it has to be 24 hours before your test. When I mean 24 hours, I mean at the 23rd hour, 59th minute, they will not refund your money. They will keep your money. So you have to contact them either through phone or email, or I think it's actually, you have phone calls actually. And notice the time, 7 a.m., 7 p.m. So if you're figuring all this out and it's after 7 p.m., you're kind of like not good. So you have to, if you want to cancel it and reschedule, you have to call them 24 hours in advance. Okay, another thing, you have to show up with a valid driver's license or ID. A couple of things about it. It has to be a state picture ID or a passport. It has to have your picture and your official name. Your name has to be exactly on your driver's license or your state ID, exactly the name that you put in GD.com. If you recently got married and you changed your name on your ID, but you didn't change it in GD.com, when you show up at the testing center and you show them your ID, they're going to say this person's name does not match the person's name on GD.com. Excuse me. And they will cancel your test. You will lose your money. So you need to make sure that the ID is valid, it's not expired, it has your name, it has your picture, and all the information is current and active and true. Okay, let's go ahead and click agree. Okay, one of the great things is you have to choose a testing center. I'm here in Austin, so I'm going to go ahead and put in 78722. That is my address or my zip code. You'll notice that I get multiple testing centers. Here's a map. Let's go ahead and click on the map. So here's the map of Austin. I'm going to go ahead and scroll in a little bit. And you'll notice that the little flags are showing me where these testing centers are located, some towards the south, some towards the north. Now, this is Austin Community College Highland. I want to show you a couple of things about Austin Community College Highland. For our adult education students, this is a very popular location. They want to go there. So I'm going to go ahead and click there. I want to show you some positives and some negatives about choosing Austin Community College's location as your testing center. So I clicked it. I put a little box here, which means I want to choose this location for testing. I go ahead and click next. Sorry, guys. You'll notice that there's not a lot of testing opportunity for October. Nothing here is lit up so that I could actually choose it. This is one of the drawbacks about choosing the campus or Austin Community College itself as a testing center. They pretty much cater to the students that are enrolled because there's a lot of testing that classes have to do. So the individual classes, like maybe a history class, they will have their students go take the test in the testing centers. So sometimes these testing centers are already pre-booked with students that are already taking tests. So that's why the availability is not very good. But let me go ahead and click this button and look at the next. Oh, November. There are a few opportunities to take a practice test or take the real test at the testing center at Highland campus. Let's go ahead and choose one. Okay, Wednesday, the 6th of November. That sounds good. Okay, I choose that, and then this light comes up. Now, if I want to see all the times, it's kind of really weird. I don't really like this screen a lot. But if I want to see all the available times on the 6th of Wednesday, though, on November, I have to click this button here. It says see all available times. I click that. So I noticed that when I look at this, I see that there's no times available in this time frame, which I probably wouldn't expect. No times available between this time frame. Okay. No time. There are 14 times between 9:15 and 1. but there's no times after that. Do you notice that? This is one of the drawbacks I feel that about taking your test at the college itself is there is some availability, but it's not very broad. Also, the time frames. I mean, I can only go between 9:30 and 12:30. So I don't have a lot of choices. Maybe I work and I get off at 5. Or can I come in even earlier? And the answer to that is no. So I have to choose something in between 9:30 and 12:30. You're going to notice that about every single time here. Notice that testing is only also through Tuesdays and Thursdays, very limited. So I don't normally tell students to choose Austin Community College as their testing center. I'll tell them choose something else. So let's go back. I am going to unchoose Austin Community College and I'm going to choose something different. Now, what I suggest doing is going actually to one of these testing centers. Now, these testing centers that are here are actually businesses, and their jobs are to just test students. So they're testing students not just with the GED, but these are testing centers for professionals also. So there are people maybe getting tested for getting their plumber's license or getting their cosmetology license, or they're getting licenses for different things. That's what these locations, it's what these businesses do. They are professional testing centers. That's all they do. So I'm going to choose this one right here, which is the Test Center USA. It's in North Austin. Anyway, hit next. This is one of the greatest things I love about the testing centers is their availability kind of opens up a lot. You'll notice that to do a test, I still have time in October. Remember when I chose the Highland campus? I didn't have any availability in October, though it's only the 18th. There's plenty of days left in the month. Now here at the testing center, I have plenty of days to choose from. Notice that I have Fridays, Saturdays, Sundays. That's really awesome. And that's a very good choice and a very good reason that most people will choose a testing center. Let's choose Saturday the 19th, which is actually tomorrow. They have availability tomorrow. If I'm super excited, I'm like, I want to take my test ASAP. I'm going to choose tomorrow. Let's choose the 19th. Okay, again, remember, in order to see all the times available, I have to click this gray button right here. Okay, look at the times. Here, I'll notice that they only have one time available from, it's probably 9 a.m. Let's see. Sure is. And they have 14 times available. Let's say this doesn't work for me. No, Baron, I don't like that. Let me choose something else. Let's choose Monday the 21st. Okay, I want to look at all the times. Okay, here are the times again. So again, it looks very similar to what I saw for Saturday or for Saturday, right? One time available for 9, 14 times available for this. Now, again, this is only one testing center. There are multiple testing centers throughout Austin. You can choose any of them. But I do encourage students to actually take a look at these testing centers and not be afraid of them. Because of the availability of the question of tests, you could take it on the weekends and it's not going to maybe affect your work schedule or your class schedule. So choosing one of these is really great. I'm going to choose Saturday. I'm going to go ahead and pick a time and show you what it looks like. Let's pick that one time at 9 a.m. Let's go ahead and choose that. So I click on this, and now I go ahead and continue with this time. Okay, this is what ends up happening. So now I have actually purchased my math test. I picked a time and a location. This is the cost. Now, one thing about the cost, if I took a GED practice test or an essential ed practice test and I scored a 150 or better, I had the opportunity to fill out the voucher request form, which is now going to say I took a practice test I scored a 150 or better. I know this says 145, but they changed it. They actually upped it a little bit for giving out the vouchers. So if I score a 150 or better on Essential Ed or the GD.com practice test, I now have the ability to fill out this voucher and get a free test given to me. So now they will send me a voucher code and I can go ahead and use it at this, getting close to this moment. Let's go ahead and use the voucher code. So I go here to proceed to checkout. And just as before, like I did with my practice test, I'm going to go ahead and cut and paste the voucher code that they email, and I'm going to send it right, put it right here. Once I do that, again, just like the practice test, the apply button will light up and I click on that, and then it's going to hit submit. And now I have paid for the test with somebody else's money, which is always a great thing. And now I have scheduled my test and I'm ready to go. So that is how we would go through and actually purchase and schedule a test. If you have any other questions about the website, please ask your instructor. Also, it's nice to go ahead and venture and take a look at this website and the functions and features that it has. There are things here that I did not go over that you could take a look at. Did you know that they have a little app that you could download to your phone? Take a look at this stuff. See what you think. If you have any questions, please reach out to your instructors. They are knowledge bases and they can help you find answers. Good luck.